Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you on this August 18th, 2025. I've got all your stories for your rush hour ride to work. Lots to jump into. We've got the Owens family bankruptcy. That's right. We've been covering the Laura Owens trial. Of course, I'm a star witness. It'll be something we cover for months, as this has been a several-year-long story. She's committed fraud, at least according to the accusations by the state of Arizona. And now her family, I guess, is declaring bankruptcy. This was a radio DJ who made $1.4 million a year. We'll get into that. And we've also got more on the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively case, as one of his former actors is now saying that his team has been harassing her. Is it all hogwash? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but we'll cover it. And then we got these NFL cheerleaders. Two new bros, two men are cheerleading in the NFL, and it has pissed off some fan base. Not on my team, they say. Well, we'll get into that. But first, we have to start with a pretty tragic story as it's played out over the weekend. But, we have to cover the biggest stories that are, on the water cooler agenda. And this is one of them. The mother of a 7-month-old baby boy was speaking out after the child was reportedly kidnapped. Now, we're finding out that the law enforcement is actually beginning to investigate the mother and father. Have a listen to this.
As soon as I got up, I couldn't find my son.
A 7-month-old baby boy was reportedly kidnapped right out of this Big Five parking lot. This is 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, one of 5 children in this family from Cabazon, reportedly kidnapped last night in Yucaipa. Now, his mom told me that they were here last night at a nearby football stadium in Yucaipa with the other kids playing youth football, and she had to run down here to Big Five to buy some equipment for her stepson, specifically a mouth guard. When she got here to the parking lot, she says that's when she noticed her 7-month-old's diaper needed to be changed.
So this story,
she says she got out of her.
This story 2 days ago really made the news over the weekend. Again, it's just such a tough story to talk about, because the idea that foul play exists. I mean, either it's a kidnapping or something way worse, which would be that these parents somehow, had, something terrible could have happened or may have. And, you read the comment sections a few days ago on this story, and it's like, come on, no, I hate to say I believe the best in people. I said, there's no way this would happen. But, as she was retelling her story, the police learned of some inconsistencies. So we have several updates to this story.
Within the last hour, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department has confirmed that both parents have been called to the sheriff's station to discuss this investigation, but they would not elaborate on those details. But what I can tell you is that the Otto family, they are desperate to get their 7-month-old son, Emmanuel, home. Now, his mother, Rebecca, tells me that she came to this Big Five parking lot yesterday about 7 o'clock in the afternoon. But before she walked inside, she said she decided to change her son's diaper. And that's when she says someone attacked her and took off with her son.
So that's where the story laid. Right? That they went in, they got some, they talked to the police officers, and then now, last night, we find out they may be actually investigated.
Investigators say when they confronted Rebecca Haro about inconsistencies within her initial statement, that she refused to continue any questioning. And tonight, the grandmother has confirmed to us that the couple is no longer cooperating with investigators and has lawyered up just hours after they made that desperate public plea for their son's safe return.
So, look, I'm not surprised if you're, that you should get a lawyer and all of that, but whether it's postpartum psychosis or something with the father, there's so many rumors going on. But I had to sort of, start by telling this story because we're going to be tracking it, and wish there was a good ending, but I don't think that's going to be happening. In other news, the NFL kickoff right around the corner, just finishing off. I was going to say spring training, the preseason schedule, which, by the way, preseason football sucks, right? It's just a tryout. It's, work in the third string, the second string. You don't see anybody's trick plays. Nothing good happens. But now we're finding out there are several new members of the cheerleading squad for the Minnesota Vikings. And you've got a lot of a lot of toxic responses to this, ranging from people saying, no, not on my screen, no way. And then other people love it. I mean, look, the guy's got sass. Look at him out there. He's snapping fingers. He's doing something athletic. He's dancing, right? Listen, cheerleading has been a co-ed sport for forever, right? You know, with the different, the base, the throws the lady in the air, flips her around, they catch her, sometimes they don't. Now, NFL cheerleading, that's more dance related. And I guess this is offended of some people saying, I can't believe it. I will not support a team that puts a male out there in tight clothes. Wait, hold on. What? That's the whole football team, right? You literally have the quarterback when he's under snap with his hands on a man's scrotum waiting for the football. You know what I mean? There's literally guys motioning back and forth, slapping each other's butts. Like, this is not the sport to get all homophobic, right? And again, it says more about the people that have negative comments than to say, look, who the hell cares? You're going to complain that the sport's getting too woke because they have a couple dudes there, slapping the grass as they, do the Dougie or whatever the kids are doing these days. Not a big deal in my book. Here's the other dancer here, kind of snapping it off, doing his thing, Bring in some new audience. Bring in those, people that are fans of male cheerleaders. I don't know. I don't care. Do whatever. No one even watches this stuff anyway. Right? When the snap's over, you go on TikTok or Twitter to go fight with somebody. But now this is what they're going to be fighting over. So again, it is what we like to call made up, absolute nonsense. The majority of people don't care. And this is the problem with the internet, though. The problem with the internet is the worst takes in the world get thrown to the top because, people always want to complain and then fight the complainers. Not on my book. We here support male cheerleaders. In fact, is there an age limit? Can I get down? I can pop a move here or there. Let me just stretch first. All right, I want to let you guys know we are in full throttle with the new website, rushhourwithdave.com. Very often people say, oh, Dave, I didn't catch your latest podcast. It didn't pop up on my YouTube. Don't trust the algorithms, folks. Whether you get banned or deplatformed or, some of our content, if we're covering politics, doesn't get, pushed out. It's all here, rushhourwithdave.com. If you scroll to the bottom of my channel, you'll see some stand-up comedy clips you can get that are exclusively available on the website. Also, you can sign up for the newsletter, which you're going to need to see, when I'm in your town. I'm trying to book more road shows. So just remember, rushhourwithdave.com. You can get all of that. When I have merch out there, Dave Neal Star Witness, all that merch, that's where you'll be able to find it. So if you want to contact me, so far, I'll be honest, so far, the only people that have used my website has been people to write me hate mail. These haters are good at using the internet. So send me some love. You don't have to email me. Just sign up for the newsletter. All right. Well, let's do this. We're going to get into the Laura Owens stuff. As you guys know, we've been covering Laura Owens and this insane marathon trial. She's got a trial coming up in San Francisco, the one I'm involved in Arizona, and now her father and mother are declaring bankruptcy. We'll have this story coming up after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode of the Rush Hour Podcast is sponsored by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one of my favorites. Ooh, are they delicious. Start your day with a protein-packed breakfast from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Oh, you thought they only had delicious smoothie options? You're mistaken. Pair that smoothie with a toasted breakfast wrap, order ahead online, and earn rewards with the Tropical Smoothie Cafe app. Like to customize things? Add more good vibes to your smoothie. Fresh add-ins like almonds, spinach and kale, chia seeds, or supplements like protein and Energizer. My favorite smoothie is the Peanut Paradise, chock full of 22 grams of protein. My wife loves the mixed berry Greek yogurt bowl topped with fresh strawberries and blueberries, which comes with a whopping 26 grams of protein. Make every day a getaway with our bold flavors and better-for-you pairings only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you're on Tropic Time now. Now back to the show. You got to give credit to Justice for Clayton Official. This Instagram account rocks. Everyone's done such a good job. Laura Owens' parents filed Chapter 13 bankruptcy in federal court. Now, I'm no expert, obviously, in any of this, so sometimes filing bankruptcy is the right thing to do when you're restructuring or whatever, but you have to remember, this guy made a lot of money, $1.4 million a year at his heyday. They had a home in San Francisco that they bought way before the housing boom, so they sold that that and then moved to this place in Arizona. I mean, this family should be thriving, and this is clearly not the case. Laura Owens' parents filed for the bankruptcy. Elizabeth Naylor, a.k.a. Jan Black, and Ron Owens, Laura's parents, have filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy in Arizona federal court on August 14th, 2025. At the peak of Ron's career, he made $1.25 million annual salary. Oh, sorry, I said 1.4. The family recently raised $130,000 from elderly Bay Area fans on GoFundMe, while spending hundreds of thousands on Laura's decade of lawsuits over her fake pregnancy and false DV claims. Her father claims he is facing serious medical issues, yet money continues to be diverted to frivolous litigation. They still keep 7 horses on their Arizona property, likely costing thousands per month in maintenance, and an $850,000 Scottsdale Airbnb rental. Bankruptcy filings are public record. Huge thanks to the JFC community members who provided the documentation. Yeah, when I found this out, I couldn't believe it. Well, I mean, nothing surprises me about this family anymore. They're just rotten. So they report their monthly income is $21,000 and expenses are $6,640. It's like, listen, if you can't live off of $21,000 in Scottsdale, Arizona. I know they're, passing out a lot of chocolates to the Scottsdale Police Department, but that's absolutely ridiculous. They claim to have 7 horses. I mean, listen, this audience, this Justice for Clayton audience, they have not let anyone in the Owens family fart and get away with it. They are on their ass. Why? Because Laura lied to one of their beloved, folks, lied about the pregnancies with Clayton Eckert and put his life through hell, unearthed the ones with Mike Maricini and Greg Gillespie, and, the list goes on. So they name all these debts that they have, $500,000, credit cards, loans. I'm guessing that's a loan on the property. If the Owens family planned to file bankruptcy, why start a $140,000 GoFundMe in January of 2025? Could it have been to pay for Laura's legal expenses? Yeah, look, if it was for medical expenses, you would think they would just throw that into the bankruptcy, right? But no, they can't just throw into the bankruptcy if they need to hire a lawyer. And of course, they had to hire a criminal defense lawyer. They didn't pay Gingras as far as we know. But you know what's crazy? This is what's getting so crazy with this story. I'm trying my best to cover this fairly. I truly am. But you got to call bullshit out when you see it. It's the same thing I say with politics. People might say, oh, Dave, you're biased towards one side or the other. It's like, yeah, I can have a bias because I see the bullshit and I want to call it out. And when it comes to Laura Owens, we've been calling this shit out for a long time. But I've had people tell me that we need to be concerned of Laura Owens' attorney, David Gingras, because, this is a guy who doesn't care about consequences. This guy's a loose cannon. He's possibly drinking. I think in one episode, he even brandished his gun, right? Didn't he show his gun in one of his videos? So it's like, listen, I mean, things are getting pretty crazy out there. And I just got to let my audience know we're not going to be silenced at all. I think that's the way that they would obviously prefer things to go. But we can't show any weakness, even if there's a lot of volatility going out there. Do you guys know what I mean? So anyway, I'm doubling down. I'm a star witness. As far as what will come of Laura's attorney contacting me, even though you're not supposed to contact a witness before a case, I'm not sure. I'm not hiding. I'm going to continue to talk about this until the day I have to stop talking about it, which might be when the trial happens. I might have to stop talking about it for the week of the trial or 2 weeks of the trial. We'll have to see how that all plays out. Well, there's your update on Laura Owens. Okay, now we're going to get into the crazy stories of Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, specifically Isabela Ferrer. I always don't know how I'm pronouncing that, but I'm going to go with Isabela Ferrer. She has written this several page response to, I guess, the Baldoni side is trying to subpoena her. She played Blake Lively's younger version of herself. It's sickening to a lot of people what I'm about to share with you, because they try to frame Baldoni as a harasser of her just because they're trying to serve her and, do discovery and this and that. So I'm going to, fast forward through some of this and try to hit the key points. The instant motion for leave to serve third-party Isabela Ferrer by alternative service is yet another attempt by Baldoni and his affiliated entities to harass non-party Isabela and draw her deeper into the litigation and disputes that she has done her best to avoid. This is Ms. Ferrer's first filing in this court, but she was pulled into the discovery fray in February 2025 when Blake Lively delivered a subpoena to her to delve into allegations about Ms. Ferrer that Baldoni included in his original complaint. In response, Ms. Ferrer tendered a demand for indemnity to It Ends With Us movie as mandated in her day weekly player contract for theatrical motion picture. By the way, the fact she was a weekly player, that just means she was hired and wasn't like working more than several days. She really didn't have a big role, but as you're going to see in this document here, I think she's trying to make herself up to be a bigger person than she was. She had a slice of the movie, whatever, 4 days of shooting, but it's like, chill out. So she says, from that point forward, Baldoni has tried to manipulate, threaten, control, and otherwise act inappropriately towards Ms. Ferrer. In fact, Baldoni's legal team has gone as far as citing a phony case, which Ms. Ferrer's counsel discovered as an AI hallucination to support a frivolous legal position. It did not stop there. The filing of the instant motion is yet another attempt to manipulate the press, to create havoc on a young, up-and-coming, and talented actress, and to violate this court's policies on the publishing of non-party personal identifying information. As set forth herein, there is no need for the court to grant the press-garnering motion, but instead sanction Baldoni for engaging in such obvious, sharp practice. So Isabel here wants Baldoni to pay her bills, to face penalties over them just trying to serve her a subpoena. The primary reason to deny the motion is that it fails to meet the applicable legal standard for the relief Baldoni seeks. Baldoni prematurely brought the motion without conducting the diligence necessary to support a motion for leave to serve a discovery subpoena on Ms. Ferrer by means other than personal service. So essentially what she says is they didn't try hard enough to serve me. The motion is just the latest in a broader pattern of conduct by Baldoni to bully Ms. Ferrer. Gen Z feeling bullied. You know who might feel bullied? Justin Baldoni. As he watched the premiere of his movie in a basement, Baldoni tried to leverage compliance with contractual indemnity obligations owed to Ms. Ferrer in an effort to take control of Ms. Ferrer's response to the Lively subpoena. Baldoni then tried to leverage compliance with those same indemnity obligations as a quid pro quo from Ms. Ferrer to instruct her attorney to accept service of the Baldoni subpoena on her behalf. So again, a lot of this legal mumbo jumbo, can't tell you, but if she's going to say that Baldoni was harassing and bullying her, they're going to have to provide more evidence than Baldoni just trying to serve the subpoena. Finally, though, the motion does not directly raise the substance of the Baldoni subpoena. The court should consider it when determining whether to give Baldoni special treatment for the manner in which it is served. Even the most cursory review of the Baldoni subpoena demonstrates its harassing nature. For example, it demands the production of all documents produced in connection with any subpoena in the action. There is no rational reason to demand that Ms. Ferrer, who is not a party to this action, reproduce materials that have already been produced by her or others in the litigation. Now, you have to remember, one of the fake HR complaints was that Baldoni was getting too close to her, and they accused, he was being so creepy they had to redo her makeup because he was breathing right on her. Of course, that was a fake HR complaint, but it was also shared by some pro-Blake Lively accounts. So very, very bizarre stuff. Isabella and here's the background. So here's where they sum it up. This is what you get paid good money for, you got to fillet the ego of the actor. Isabella is a talented actress who a few years ago broke into feature films. One of her first film roles was in It Ends With Us. Although her role in the film was important, she only spent 4 days on set and was paid a small sum for her work. She has little to do with the operative facts and events of this case. All right, chill out, Meryl Streep, okay? Calm down. All right. But that has not stopped her from being pulled into the dispute by Baldoni in a number of different ways. Baldoni made minimal reference to Ms. Ferrer in the original complaint. The 179-page complaint Baldoni filed against Lively makes 4 direct references to Ms. Ferrer, includes screenshots of a few text messages Ms. Ferrer sent. Of course, those text messages were her saying, "I loved working with you. Here's photos from the set. Thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah." Not surprisingly, some of the text messages Ms. Ferrer sent Baldoni were very positive and included the types of comments one would expect from a young actress to make to the director and producer of her first feature film. I get it. When I was arguing on behalf of Jamie Heath, who said nice things about Blake Lively, same deal. talk somebody up because you just want to do well in this industry. I say that after I perform at comedy clubs, even if I hated the place. No, it was so great to do your venue. I love smelling like cigarette smoke and buffalo dip. It was fantastic. Who cares if the AC broke? No, we didn't even need a light. Sure, the dog was barking in the green room. Have me back anytime. Happens all the time, folks. Those were actual, references to a comedy club I performed at. Baldoni used these texts to craft the narrative that after Miss Ferrer spent substantial time with Lively during film promotions, Miss Ferrer felt compelled to shun Baldoni in repudiation of her warm words. Baldoni's complaint made no other allegations that directly reference Miss Ferrer. Baldoni's lawyer crafted narrative is far from reality or the true facts, but nonetheless, it created a situation where even those minimal allegations were enough to drag Miss Ferrer into this litigation. Stated more bluntly, Baldoni appropriated Miss Ferrer's narrative without her permission simply to create a self-serving image for the public and the press. Ironically, the allegations against Baldoni are those that mimic a harasser, and his recent actions surely support that view. Oh my gosh! They're going for the jugular, folks! Wild stuff. Et tu, Bruto? Now, people didn't know what to expect with Isabel here. They were saying, well, she's being very quiet. Maybe she doesn't want to ruffle feathers with either side. But I think it would be fair to think she's hitching herself to the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds wagon on this one. Wow. Yikes. So again, you have to remember, Baldoni's being accused in the New York Times article of being this terrible person. So what does he do? He just shares text messages of an actor that was very happy to work with him. So I'm not seeing the own that I guess some pro-Blake Lively accounts think that they have here. Ms. Ferrer became involved in the litigation. On February 25th, Lively issued the Lively subpoena to Ms. Ferrer. Mr. Ferrer tendered this matter to It Ends With Us for indemnity. Or I think that was a typo. As explained below, It Ends LLC has not honored its obligations. Consequently, Ms. Ferrer sought reasonable extensions of time from Lively to respond to the Lively subpoena until the indemnity issue was resolved. Shortly after Ms. Ferrer received the Lively subpoena, she sent notice to It Ends. The acting agreement includes an express provision. Okay, so this is all just the BS stuff that I don't think we need to share. So then they get, it's just wild. It's wild. And again, I wasn't there. You guys weren't there, but I've yet to see, as we read through all these text messages, I've yet to see anything that Baldoni did that was on the offensive. Everything we see is just him responding to Blake Lively's complaints. Here's an interesting TikTok I came across I thought did a really good job of explaining exactly how I feel.
I want to say when it comes to the smear campaign, yes, they had a scenario plan. Yes, they were ready to do whatever it took in order to defend themselves. Because of Blake's actions in phase 2, as well as her post-production, as well as leading up to all of the PR, as well as having them sit in the basement. But guess what? They didn't have to do anything because Blake was never going to say nothing about nothing because she got everything she wanted. She took over that man's movie. She stole the PGA credit and had them sitting in a freaking basement during the movie premiere, but was totally fine to be on set with them all through phase 2, was totally fine to be in the editing room and talk to them and kiki with them the entire time until she got into the edit room and locked them out and forced her way to be the creator of this film. Okay? She put out her own film, didn't score very highly, actually twice, didn't do very well, so then she had to put 90% back of Justin's movie. And she was fine to do all of this. She was fine to do all of this. And she wasn't going to say nothing about nothing because nothing happened that was so severe. She just wanted to have her moment. And now that Justin and Jamie and Wayfair were gone into the basement, literally into the basement, she could shine. She could be.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, right? Where it seems as though all of this was supposed to go on behind the scenes. You know, the 17-point thing that Blake wanted Justin to sign, all of that was leverage, as far as I can tell, to give her more power with whatever negotiations they were going to have, negotiations to get her more edit of the film. And it could have been, if you want to look at the the best possible scenario for Blake Lively. It could have been she just thought she could have done a better job getting this film to the finish line. Now, obviously, you can't do all of the things that you would have done if that were the case, but that would be like the best way to look at this. It could have been that she didn't feel like Baldoni had the right vision and she felt ownership and this and that, or it could have been her own insecurities that, her friends are these high-powered people and she is just some, lowly actor who wants more say in the matter. So we'll really probably never know. But I do say this about pro-Blake Lively supporters. I think for the most part, people are trying the best with the info they have, and you come at it from different perspectives based on your own experience. I just hope people would treat, those that believe Baldoni's side with that same sort of grace, because it's really complicated when it's been going on for so long now that you have to go, well, the smear campaign was supposed to be done before these lawsuits that came out with the New York Times, right? That's when Blake alleged that there was a smear campaign. And now it's like, well, no, it's what's going on after that, because there's been journalists, content creators that have received media statements, from Baldoni's side. Whenever something happens, you would ask the lawyer, hey, can I get a statement for, X, Y, and Z? So it's like, what are we even arguing anymore? That's what it comes down to. Did Justin harass you or not on set? Where's the evidence? Where's the text messages you would have sent to Ryan Reynolds or whatnot? And really all they had was, well, he signed this away to get me back on the set, and then all the actors unfollowed him. And again, trust me, that looks really bad when you get all the actors to unfollow you. But what you see when you read through some of this is they're all out for themselves. Everyone's out for themselves to do what they need to do and just not, ruffle feathers. I wouldn't want to be Isabela Ferrer right now. I really wouldn't. Who the hell is going to want to? But again, is there something she knows that we don't? I'm always up to change my thoughts. All right, well, there it is for your morning episode. We'll be back this afternoon with a special Patreon-only live stream, usually around 11 a.m. Central Time, sometimes a little bit later. Patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want to check that out. You can join us for our Work with Dave episode. Otherwise, we'll be back this afternoon. We'll see you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.